everybody? This is Mr. Rob, and today it's time to talk about Madden NFL 26. As within a couple of months, a new football game will be on the horizon featuring the NFL. And today, like I usually do, I'm going to talk about the game that's coming up, maybe give you my plans, my initial plans for the game, and let you guys get the topic started about what team we will be using in Madden NFL 26. So if you're excited for this one and Madden content on the future, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. Because this year I do plan on doing a Madden NFL 26 series. I know I said the same thing last year with Madden NFL 25, but we only got like 2 episodes in as that series was quickly halted due to a couple of things. I planned on using the Packers, but, with me not enjoying the game as much as the new college football game, as well as we were in the middle of a moving cycle and I didn't have internet, it just didn't really work out. But with Madden NFL 26 fresh, I'm not moving this year unless something changes at the last second. So I do plan on jumping headfirst into Madden NFL 26 because back in 24, our Washington Commanders franchise is one of the more successful viewed series that I have on the channel. Despite us not having a good series in terms of record, it was good for the channel. So I'm looking to jump back in with Madden NFL 26, and I will let you know what I plan to do at the end of this episode. But first, we'll talk about some of the stuff that we do know about. You've probably already read about this or watched some of the bigger YouTubers talk about this, but I still want to give my intake a little bit, and I won't spend too much time on it. But there is an article up on EA's website, their Gridiron Notes, where you can see some of the topics they've talked about for the upcoming game. I'll link that in the description below. But we found out that Saquon Barkley is the cover athlete, well deserved. He had the crazy reverse juke that will now find its way into Madden, because that's usually what EA does. If there's a cool move in the NFL season, they'll take whoever that player was, they'll put him on the cover, and then they'll add that move to the game. I don't really expect the reverse juke to be a huge deal in franchise mode, at least, but it is cool to see. Which the first part they talk about is gameplay. There's not really much there. They kind of deep dive. They're just going to tell you what they usually tell you, and that's that they plan on mimicking what you see on the field in real life. But the second part of the article is cool. They talk about coach and quarterback DNA. I think if added correctly, this could be cool. I'd like to see some of these quarterbacks get some personality. They try to do this a little bit by making some quarterbacks run first, some pass first. And I feel like they've done a better job in recent years at allowing the quarterbacks to maneuver the pocket a little bit more realistic, instead of just like when they tuck and run, they're going to tuck and run and they always go to the same spot. But it'd be cool to see players like they talk about Joe Burrow play like Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen play like Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson play like Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, etc. So that'd be kind of cool. As far as coach DNA, I'm actually more excited about the coaches than the quarterbacks. I feel like that's where you can have a lot more fun with these coaches, getting them some personalities. It makes the carousel, I feel like, at the end of the year a little bit more fun and a little bit more dynamic. I mean, we know about Black Monday in the NFL, the last week of the season, where coaches start to get fired. And I feel like if coaches have a more specific DNA and they are actually more like themselves, that can make it a little bit more dynamic. And you can see, a coach get fired and take their new style to a new team and see that also start to follow. So that'd be kind of cool. It mentions, if you're playing Dan Campbell, expect them to go forward on 4th and 3. I think that's a cool feature, as long as they don't overdo it. I mean, if the Lions are up by like 20, I don't want to see like Dan Campbell going for every single 4th down, but I'm sure there will be checks and balances in place for that. Also, they don't talk about it, so I'm expecting the fact they're not going to have real-life coordinators in the NFL, which I would like to see those as well, but it doesn't look like they'll make the cut. But we'll do something in our universe where we will incorporate the coordinators in there as well, because I feel like that's an awesome dynamic, and a big deal of modern NFL is who are the coordinators as well. And I'd like to see, in the future at some point, if Andy Reid gets fired from the Chiefs, which will probably never happen. Let's say Andy Reid went to, the Lions, just because I just read them the article. It'd be kind of cool to see where their coordinators go. Does his coordinators follow him? Stuff like that. So I feel like they play a nice impact too. But they will not be in the official Madden license unless something else changes, as far as I know. The next thing the article talks about is wear and tear and new depth chart positions. As long as they improve the wear and tear feature from EA Sports College Football 25, I don't mind it. I'm more excited about the dynamic or the new depth chart positions because I feel like that is a huge deal. Edge rushers instead of defensive end and outside linebacker, nose tackles. We don't call them defensive ends and outside linebackers anymore. We call them edge rushers. So I think that's going to clean up a lot of the silly stuff, so to speak. I mean, I had an instance about that in my Gamecocks dynasty where I had an outside linebacker not playing on the line of scrimmage like he should be because of the position name, and it kind of hurt our defense a little bit. Or, if Jared Allen I don't know why he came to my mind, but if Jared Allen, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL history, got put on an outside linebacker spot that switched to a 4-3, and you don't change him to a defensive end, he'd be playing coverage linebacker, and that makes no sense. So I feel like the addition of edge, it actually makes a big deal. I'm also curious to see how they do the long snapper aspect because you have a long snapper depth chart position already in Madden, so it's not a new depth chart position, but it's always just some backup lineman, and the actual long snappers are always like 20 rated players. So I'm interested to see how that works and if a long snapper actually makes a difference. Now, with that being said, I don't want long snappers who are bad to be like hiking it over the punter's head like every other time. But I like to see long snappers who aren't as good, maybe once in a while, like hike it to the left a little bit, or hike it to the right, or maybe a little bit of a grounder snap, and maybe that extra second would allow a punt to be blocked instead of you just trying to jump the line every time to block it. I feel like that'd be a nice little wrinkle to the game. I don't know if that's the way they'll go, but I'm happy about this section. I do like the new depth chart positions. I like to try to stay optimistic about this stuff. I'm not buying into all the hype and drinking all the Kool-Aid to say, but I like to give them the benefit of the doubt until they prove me wrong. Weather is up next, and yes, we saw in the trailer the snow aspect. The snow looks way better than it has in the past. So that is really cool. It mentions that teams that are like more warm weather teams might not play better in the cold, and then cold weather teams might tire out faster in the heat. So I'm interested to see how that works out, though. I think that's a cool feature. But, there's some areas in the NFL that are hot in the summer, and then in the winter they are cold. So I don't really know how that'd play. For instance, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. If you go to a Panthers game in August and September, you're going to be in blazing heat. But if you go to a Panthers game in December, you're going to want to bring a jacket. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays a part as well. Does the time of the year make a difference? I like to get the weather beforehand. Before a game even starts, maybe they tell you the forecast is going to be cloudy, it's going to be rainy, it's going to be snowy. That would be kind of cool too. They've done it in the past where you just usually get a little notification that says like extreme weather in the area, but I like to actually know the conditions I'm going into. Otherwise, I do like the weather aspect. The snow looks a lot better. Foundational football, it says football fundamentals are not optional. I don't really know much about this. I didn't really read too much into this. This just seems like they're trying to tie in the gameplay again. So I'm not really going to talk a lot about that. They do have an article mentioned about franchise mode, which obviously is the big thing here. We're going to talk about franchise mode. It says new challenges make the game to game and week to week feel different. That's the first paragraph. I don't really read much into that. It's probably going to be another instance where a player is trying to talk to you on the sideline. But I do like the fact that it says, a little bit down, there will be an enhanced presentation at halftime. I like to see highlights. I don't think that's going to happen. But it also said there'll be weekly recaps from Scott Hansen and all new custom broadcast packages for Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. That I am super excited for. For me, in sports games, I do like the gameplay a lot, and gameplay, by all means, is first and foremost. But to me, like the presentation, I love when the presentation's amazing. Like, if it makes you feel more immersed in the franchise, I'm all for it. And I feel like the presentation's a huge aspect to that. If we're getting recaps about what happened on Sunday Night Football, that's awesome, because in real life, you're going to be watching the nationally televised games, and Sunday, Monday, Thursday are those primetime games, and I feel like trying to get caught up on those would be really cool, instead of us trying to have to do it ourselves, click on a bunch of menu buttons, and see the stats for ourselves. So I love the new halftime show and the weekly recap feature that they mentioned. Playbooks are really cool. I want to get a little bit more into playbooks this year myself personally. I haven't really talked a lot about or done a lot of playbook stuff in the past in terms of like studying it and stuff like that, and I honestly feel like that could help me be a better Madden player, because last time we did a Madden series, I was not very good. So maybe if I do a little bit more of that would help me personally, so I'm excited for that as well. And then the presentation, we saw some of that as well. They want to add some more things to make it more linear or symmetrical. Like if you're wearing a throwback Bucks uniform, they mention the creamsicle stuff will be all over the place instead of always being the standard Tampa Bay logo. So I like that as well. I like what they're doing with the presentation. The rest of the article talks about Superstar Mode and Ultimate Team. I'm not really going to get into that because I don't play those modes. So that's what they talk about in the article. I went through that relatively fast, again, because you've either A, probably read it, or B, listened to a YouTuber already talk about it, and C, if you do want to read it more, I include that link in the description. But yeah, Madden NFL 26 is on the horizon. It comes out August the 14th. I will be getting the early access version, of course, so we can start our franchise mode even earlier. But yeah, which kind of leaves us the last little part of this video. We got to start thinking about what team do we want to use for Madden NFL 26 franchise mode. Let me know in the comments section below what you'd like to see. I've started the early sort of stages of thinking about that, coming up with different storylines that I might want to go with, teams that would make sense, maybe some out-of-the-box answers in case a team becomes too popular and, a bigger YouTuber picks a certain team that I like. I got a backup option, stuff like that. But let me know in the comment section what team you'd like to see. I do want to go into Madden this year and go multiple seasons. And, of course, my plan last year, I want to bring it back this year. I want to incorporate our college football series into it as well. Real prospects making the switch. I want to see these players evolve and go from college to the pros. So I plan on that as well. But yeah, it's an exciting time if you're a football fan. EA Sports College Football 26 is a month away, but Madden is also 2 months away, and I cannot wait to dive into the new football cycle. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below if you want more franchise content. And again, in the comments, leave who you want me to do as a potential franchise team. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.